This photograph was taken in the winter of 1889 at Glasnevin Cemetery, Dublin. It was commissioned by the Doyle family to commemorate the burial plot of their eldest daughter, Margaret. The image shows a young woman in mourning dress, standing beside a freshly carved headstone. She holds a small oval mirror at her side, angled slightly toward the camera. The official record lists only one anomaly in this photograph: her reversed mirror. The reflection inside the oval glass does not match the scene before the lens. It shows the cemetery, but from the opposite direction, as though the mirror were facing a place the camera could not see. That single detail has never been explained, and for over 130 years, no one has successfully reproduced it. Let us begin with what the image itself can tell us. Pass 1. Objective visual description. The photograph is a silver gelatin print, roughly 6 inches by 4. The woman stands slightly left of center. Her dress is dark, high-collared, with jet buttons catching a faint gleam of overcast light. Her left hand rests on the headstone. Her right hand holds the mirror, a small oval piece, perhaps 3 inches across, with a tarnished brass frame. The headstone reads, Margaret Cecilia Doyle, 1863 to 1888, aged 25. Behind her, the cemetery stretches into a shallow fog. Celtic crosses and flat markers recede into gray. The ground is wet. There is no wind. We know this because the woman's veil hangs perfectly still. Now, look at the mirror in her hand. In a correctly functioning reflection, you would expect to see some version of what is in front of her: the photographer, the tripod, perhaps the iron gate of the cemetery entrance behind him. Instead, the mirror shows headstones, rows of them, receding in the opposite direction, toward the rear of the cemetery, the older plots, the sections that would be behind the woman's back. Her reversed mirror reflects what is behind her, not what is before her. This is not how optics work. A flat mirror at that angle, held at her side, tilted toward the camera. The laws of reflection dictate it must show some portion of the forward scene. The photographer confirmed this in his own notes. Yet the image is consistent. The grain is uniform. There is no splice line, no evidence of double exposure, no collodion artifact that would account for a reversed field of view. The photograph sits before you now, exactly as it was printed. The woman in dark mourning dress, the headstone, the small oval mirror in her right hand, and inside that mirror, the wrong cemetery. Pass 2. The archival record. The photographer was one Francis Tierney, who operated a portrait studio on Dorset Street. His daybook for November 1889 survives in the National Library of Ireland. The entry for the 11th of November reads as follows: commissioned by Mr. Doyle for memorial portrait at Glasnevin. Subject, the sister of the deceased, insisted on holding the looking glass. Said it had belonged to Margaret. Exposure at 11:40 in the morning. Overcast. Plate developed same evening. Then, in different ink, added later, perhaps days later, a single line. The glass shows what it should not. I have examined the negative under magnification. The image in the mirror is not reversed as a mirror image should be. It is reversed in orientation. It faces the wrong way. Tierney's language is precise. He does not say the reflection is distorted. He does not say it is blurred. He says it faces the wrong way. A separate document corroborates this. In January of 1890, the Dublin Photographic Society received a letter from Tierney requesting an evaluation of the plate. The Society's response, signed by their technical secretary, a Mr. Aldous Phelan, is 3 paragraphs long. The relevant passage states, "We have examined the negative forwarded by Mr. Tierney. The plate is intact, and shows no signs of manipulation, re-exposure, or chemical irregularity. The image contained within the mirror held by the subject does appear to depict a perspective inconsistent with the position of the camera. We are unable to offer an optical explanation and recommend the plate be preserved for further study. Further study never came. The plate was returned to Tierney. It passed through his estate after his death in 1907 and eventually entered the archive at Glasnevin Cemetery itself, where it remains today in a climate-controlled drawer, catalog number G89-414. Return your attention to the image. The woman's face is calm. Her eyes are focused somewhere past the camera, slightly above the photographer's head. She does not appear distressed. She does not appear to be performing grief. She is simply present. And at her side, that small oval mirror continues to show a place that should be invisible from where she stands. Her reversed mirror. Always the same anomaly. Always the same impossibility. Pass 3. Forensic escalation. In 1971, the Glasnevin archive was partially digitized by a team from University College Dublin. The Doyle memorial photograph was among the plates selected for high-resolution scanning. The scanning technician, a postgraduate student named Roisin Caffrey, filed a supplementary note with her batch report. It reads, "Plate G89-414 presents an anomalous reflective field within the mirror object held by the subject. Under 12 times magnification of the scanned negative, the reflection resolves into identifiable headstones. 3 of these headstones bear partially legible inscriptions. One reads, Connolly, 1891. Another, Rest In, followed by an illegible surname, 1890. The third is too eroded in the image to decipher, but the stone's shape matches a style not introduced to Glasnevin until 1893. Consider what this means. The photograph was taken in November of 1889. The headstones visible inside the mirror, inside her reversed mirror, include graves that did not yet exist. Connolly, 1891. A burial 2 years in the future. A headstone style 3 to 4 years from being carved. The mirror in this woman's hand does not merely reflect the wrong direction. It reflects the wrong time. Caffrey's note was filed and forgotten. It resurfaced only in 2014 when the Glasnevin Trust digitized their full supplementary archive. By then, Caffrey herself had left academia. She could not be reached for comment. But her magnification data remains on file, and it has been independently verified twice. Once in 1998 by a conservation specialist, and once in 2016 by a digital imaging lab in Belfast. Both analyses confirmed the headstones inside the mirror are real. They correspond to actual graves in Glasnevin, and they postdate the photograph. Look at the image one final time. The woman in mourning dress, standing in the pale gray light of a Dublin November. The headstone of her sister beside her, the fog pressing in from the edges of the frame, and in her right hand, that small oval mirror, no larger than a woman's palm. Her reversed mirror, reflecting graves that had not yet been dug, names that had not yet been carved, a future that in 1889 had not yet arrived. No one knows who the woman in the photograph is. The Doyle family records identify her only as a sister of the deceased. Her first name does not appear in any surviving document. She was never photographed again, at least not by Frances Tierney, and not by anyone whose records have survived. She stood at Glasnevin Cemetery on the 11th of November, 1889, held her dead sister's mirror, and looked past the camera into something we cannot see. The mirror saw it for her. What do you believe is reflected in that glass? The past misremembered? The future misplaced? Or something about Glasnevin Cemetery itself? Something that has always been there, waiting to be held at the right angle. Tell me in the comments. And if you have not yet subscribed to Forgotten Dread Tales, this archive is only growing.